this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. Just stare, cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna say goodbye, no. Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna say goodbye, no. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give. Never gonna say goodbye, no. let you go, never gonna say goodbye, no. Never gonna give you up. I'm never gonna let you go, never gonna say goodbye, no. Never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give you up. Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give, never gonna give you up. Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give you up. Never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give you up. Never gonna give. Never gonna say goodbye, no.
Why do I feel like I linger? Linger between the words to say the words to remember. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all. Lose it all. Lose it all. Feel it in your arms. Feel it in your legs. Feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go. Just let your body go. Just let your body go and move to the rhythm. Now we won't go back home today, until the very last hour. We still got a few more days to slay, It's gonna get so much louder. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all. Lose it all. Lose it all. Feel it in your arms. Feel it in your legs. Feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go. Just let your body go. Just let your body go and move to the rhythm.
summer. Ganja smoking, they got rum in the cup. Bad girls wind up on the dance floor. All the girls wind up on the dance floor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second round of the 5th week of Meta. My name is Ewan Eardisreed, joined with casting Reinhardt once again for the Western Australian bracket. Now, Reinhardt, it's going to be very exciting to see what these teams are able to bring given the game we watched previously.
That is definitely true, and like from what we saw the earlier game of tonight was between the two teams on the top of the ladder, and now from that series right there, or should I say from that game, we have now got two teams tied for top of the ladder at the moment, which is going to be very interesting to see over the next couple of weeks. Because like as we progress further, into the ladder, when it gets around like week 5, week 6, or close towards the end, we really begin to see, where team synergy is, strongest most, and effective team playing has really begun to shine in each of these teams essentially. Like it's really nice because like you don't get to see them once, you get to see them recurring, and you sort of begin to like develop like an analysis about them.
Exactly. So we'll see how these two teams go head to head. But talking about these two teams, I think it is only fair we introduce them, Reinhardt. So on the blue side for this particular game, we have Southern River College Blue, and their opponents are from Churchlands Senior High School. So be very excited to see these two teams going head to head. Now, hopefully, we will be entering pick and ban very shortly. But given what we saw at the previous game, which was a very slow game, a bit of acceleration in the mid game, are we expecting a very similar style from here, or are you kind of hoping for more of a win lane sort of game?
Just from speculation between both teams, it appeared to be that they could probably both have a bit of a passive startup, trading blows here and there, passively farming it out to see who gets ahead first. But I do want to establish that there will be a battle of junglers in this game, just based on each team's makeup. It looks like it could be more of a battle of the junglers and who they decide to focus on in tonight's game. Because like unlike last game, we had a lot of players in the high school bracket, and like compared to this one, we're gonna see a bit more of a passive style gameplay, which is going to be nice for the viewers because they'll be able to get a better understanding of what's going on without seeing like too many team plays happening at once. I mean, I could be wrong, but it really depends on how these two teams play out. I myself am just a little bit unfamiliar with all these teams at the moment. So as we like venture deeper into each week and each ladder essentially, or should I say, as we venture each week into the ladder, that we'll begin to actually see where some teams have their strengths and like their weaknesses essentially. Like are they better early game? Are they better mid game, late game? Are they better as like the jungler with the mid lane running around a lot, or even just all lanes essentially can handle their own? It's really hard to tell, like unless we see successive gameplay where we see similar features essentially. Oh, what are your thoughts at the moment?
I mean, right now, Season 9, it's gone through a few transformations, but the way I've always seen Season 9, at least for the last couple patches, has been a very snowball focused area, and specifically it's snowball focus coming out of the jungle. So what I'm particularly going to be looking at, and I said this last game, and I will say it this game as well, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the junglers and seeing how much impact they have come the 15-minute mark. And in my experience, the jungler who has had more of an impact is always the one that seems to be ahead of their opposite number and in control of the game when we start skirting around that 15-20 minute mark. Laning phase is mostly over, turrets are down, and the macro comes out of macro in League of Legends really starts to show itself. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, but these teams could surprise me. There is every possibility of an explosive start out the gate.
I do want to talk more on what you said just before about mid game roughly coming around 20-minute mark. Turrets have first turret's gone down. We see some more movement happening around the map. We see some more macro based gameplay coming around. And when I say macro gameplay, I mean active wards, focusing on objectives roughly around Herald and specifically Dragon. We'll see a little bit more of Dragon plays happening too. I know last game we saw at least 4 to 5 dragons taken away, and a whopping 4 barons on top of as well. And Herald was taken down within that mix to boot.
Exactly.
And like what I'm hoping to see that I've actually seen quite commonly is, let's say for instance, top lane takes their turret first, they migrate down bottom, but nobody goes up top, and they sort of like take two turrets in succession, which really opens up the map for one team. And like, I'm kind of hoping that I see that in this game particularly tonight, because from what I'm looking at so far, it could be a bit of a passive startup, but you never know until we get into game. Like, because a lot of the time you have a frontline strategy, but then you just wing it. Like, you know, as you venture further into the game, because you sort of forget how to exact your strategy, and it's just like, you know what, I forgot what the strategy was. We're just gonna go for it.
Exactly, but we are loaded in to pick and ban for our game of the Western Australian bracket, and we can see the players on your screen, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the lanes that these players will be running in. So, for the side of Southern River College Blue, which is of course the team on the left-hand side of the screen, we have Rito up in the top side, Youngs in the jungle, Alien in the mid lane, and of course Draven with Skyscree in the bottom side. So we'll see what they do lock in. Of course, Draven banned away. Zero IQ though on the opposite side. D Nox in the top lane. Zero for the jungle. Toto is going to be in the jungle with Sneaky and Soul in the bottom side of the map. So we'll see these matchups as the banning phase. A little few unconventional picks. The Udyr, the Draven, not exactly picks I see a whole lot on the ban list.
Not a lot of like commonly seen bans, you know, at this stage, or should I say in this current patch, but it's nice to say that we're seeing some very powerful champions taken away. Like Draven is definitely a very common banned away champion. Hecarim has made his appearance, but I definitely do have to like highlight that we've got Udyr, Leona, and Silas taken away. Like that's one complete CC tank, an impressive jungler that is actually really good against Kha'Zix. So it's only understandable that they took away Udyr to help Young out essentially. And like coming to these first two picks at the moment, it looks quite interesting. Like I'm a little bit I'm raising an eyebrow at the moment, just mainly because of some of the spells being picked away. But I guess it's only because these teams have actually been playing either solo or something like before tonight. So I'm gonna hold myself to those summons.
Might be having a bit of fun is what I'm expecting out of these guys. They're smite hovering for now, but we are seeing the Vel'Koz and the Zhao locked in, so figured, hey, you got an aggressive jungler out of the Kha'Zix, we'll match you something with a Xin Zhao, and the Vel'Koz lock-in is quite fun. Now, I am expecting this to go to Soul in the support role, but it could be flexed up to Toto in mid, so I guess we'll have to find out as pick and ban will continue. The 80 carry lockup of the Kai'Sa, very powerful champion, but there are a few champions that do quite well into her.
That's incredibly true, and it's interesting to see that we've got Kai'Sa picked away, Kha'Zix as well. So we're seeing some roughly mid-game based champions being picked up. Like Kha'Zix is good early, but once he starts evolving his abilities, at least at level 11, he really comes online. But however, you know, when he comes online, that's possibly like the maximum he'll actually get, because he doesn't really spike any much further from there unless he had, for example, Rengar to verse in jungle, because, you know, when they both hit level 16, the quest comes alive, and it really comes down to whether Kha'Zix can kill Rengar, because if he can take down Rengar, he gets his 4th evolution, and that's really disastrous if Kha'Zix is not on your side. But I like what we're seeing. We're seeing like Kai'Sa into Jinx at the moment, so it could be a battle of who can dish out the most damage first, because even though Jinx is much better at being a basic attack jeweler, Kai'Sa's really good at just essentially laying everything into their counter ADC. And I guess it can come down to what support they decide to pick, because Kai'Sa does effectively well with champions that have high CC capabilities. An example of that is Leona.
Unfortunately, Leona is banned away as we hit the second round of bans, but there are a few champions here that really excite me, specifically the Nasus. As a bit of a Nasus player myself, I'm very excited to see this, but it also is a little bit of a concern because Nasus has a lot of issues in specific matchups. So we'll have to see what Dionox decides to take into the dog in the top lane, as Assassins being hit away, the Zed, the Morgana, and of course the Vladimir currently removed from the ban list. And pairing up the Jinx, I do quite like this. Hypercarry versus Hypercarry in the bottom lane, as you were talking about, Reinhardt. So well, obviously what the final ban coming out of the side of Southern River College Blue is, and then we'll see what the solution is to this Nasus, because Nasus is once again a champion that is like basically a time, but you need to stop him from stacking.
Exactly. And like as we spoke earlier in the break, there are some champions that are essentially a ticking time bomb. Like when they come into the game, or should I say, when they appear on the champion selection list and not the bans, it sort of really helps set the mood for the other teams. Like, you have roughly 25 minutes to be able to win the game before Narcissus begins to turn the tides. And I like at the moment that we're seeing Darius taken away to try and counter into Narcissus. It can be a bit of an iffy matchup. Like, Narcissus can set himself up well so that Darius can't really continue his entire combo on top of Narcissus, because Narcissus can slow him down and essentially have a free getaway. But also to boot, if he also has his ulti and Darius can't pop off his I believe it's his 5 stacks, it could essentially turn tides in favor of Narcissus. And if Narcissus gets ahead early, his lead will only get worse as the game progresses, because he's that type of champion. His Q has a never-ending stack bonus. You can go up to 1,000 stacks, and it'll essentially just keep going, and it'll hurt with each successive execute he uses on that siphoning strike.
Exactly, a bit of a fun top lane match up there, but Darius will be having fun. He look like he's taking the ghost right now, which will be a big issue for the dog on the top side of the map, but we do get to see every single matchup and lane, so it doesn't look exactly nice on stream, but I'll quickly read it up. The Darius is going into the top lane against the Nasus. Kha'Zix and the Zinzao are our two junglers. The mid lane's going to be a bit of a passive lane. Cassidy against a Galio, but Galio not exactly have the same pressure as Aurelia we saw in the previous matchup of today. And our bot lane duos is going to be, of course, the Kai'Sa Braum going head-to-head against the Jinx and the Vel'Koz. So I have to see how these two teams label themselves up as what... I look at the lineup coming out of Southern River College Blue. I see a Nasus, I see a Kai'Sa, and I think to myself, if they get to a late game scenario, they shouldn't be able to lose.
No, they shouldn't. But they've also got Jinx. But looking over on Zero IQ, they do have a Cassidy and Jinx to counter. And that's something just as disastrous. And if Vel'Koz can sort of come to light as well with at least a Riley's Crystal Scepter stack, when he pops that ulti, he's really going to dish out a lot of damage with that slow on top of. And that'll just essentially enable the rest of Zero IQ to actually close in on somebody. And since that has a very long, a very long beam ray, or should I say distance on that ray, it is very beneficial and can be very utility based. Even if it doesn't do a lot of damage up front, he'll be able to pop more of his passive, be able to do more, I believe it's true damage on it. As well, just the slow will essentially be never ending, because he'll be able to lock down more than one person and enable for Jinx, Cassidy, or even Darius to actually close in on them, because champions like Darius and Jinx are very limited in their movement capability. So having someone that slows down the enemy, or even stun them, for instance, or drag them in, like with Darius, it really benefits them quite well, because it really puts them in a position to, bring their champion's kit to light. I mean, I do have to specifically say Darius, because if he doesn't have enough movement speed, that ulti with Riley's Crystal Scepter on top will really help him pull someone back into combat, continue pulling up his stacks. Once the stack is highlighted, his ulti is fully maximized, and if he can execute somebody with his ulti, or actually better yet, just attack anybody with his passive, that's just essentially all going to be stacked, and he's going to have a never-ending attack damage bonus.
Exactly. We'll see how that takes itself as we are loading ourselves into the game. Of course, spectator delaying us by about a minute. But looking at the lineups right now, I have to ask you who you think came out with the better draft. And I'm going to ask you to lay your cards on the table. Who do you think is actually going to take this game? Southern River College with the likes of the Nasus and the Kai'Sa, or Churchlands Senior High School's Zero IQ team with Jinx, Darius, Cassidy? Which one will be taking the win?
I'm gonna have to split my decision, actually. I will say, at this point, I will say that Zero IQ do have the advantage, only because they have a bit more of an early game catch up. But if Southern River manage to get to around 25 to 30 minutes, it is going to pretty much become their favor of the game. So it really comes down to how quick they can progress through this game. If they can get through three tier 1 towers by 20 minutes. Then it is definitely going to be Zero IQ. Otherwise, I have my bets that Southern River will take if they can drag the game on long enough.
I kind of have to. I'm going to try and make it. I feel like Zero IQ are going to be the ones to take this game. And my reasoning is that their top lane, the Darius into the Nasus, is going to be an extremely difficult lane for the Nasus to handle, especially a Darius with Ignite, and what I'm going to assume is going to be either Phase Rush or some other combat summoner spell. Combat Keystone, sorry. So he's going to really struggle to survive in lane. He's going to need a lot of jungle help, and Zero IQ should be aware of that, drafting the likes of the Xin Zhao. I would be surprised if the Nasus isn't 0-2 at the 10-minute mark of the way Darius can play, especially with that Conqueror that he is running. The middle lane...
I want to change my vote now. Seeing that he's gone with Conqueror, I'm going to have to put my vote with Southern River, because if Darius does not get anywhere near on Nasus quickly, I believe Rito is going to have a very strong early game advantage, and that's really going to put Southern River in front quite a lot.
Well, you put your cards on the table. I've got to go against you. I still think that the Zero IQ have a really good shot at this. I really have faith in the Darius to be able to dominate in the top side of the map. And their bottom lane, this late game scaler out of the Jinx, has a Vel'Koz to look after her. So the Vel'Koz, a lot of damage in lane, a lot of harassment. I just see the fact that Zero IQ are going to win through the top. They're not going to win mid lane. They're probably going to go even in bot lane. But I think when it comes to the scaling, yes, Nasus and Kai'Sa have infamous levels of scaling, but I don't think the Nasus is ever going to get there. I think the Darius is going to keep him down in the dumps, and we're going to see a very unhappy pup in the top lane.
Well, our votes have been casted, so it's essentially 1-for-1. It's going to be a battle of the casters' decision by the sounds of it. Just to give a slight reminder to everybody that we do have a slight sync-up delay, so please bear with us as we get ourselves, synced up and ready to go, so where there's no problems between casting and what you see on the screen. I mean, I for one would not want to hear, what the casters are saying, but not see it on screen. I mean, that's like talking about a different movie while watching another one.
Exactly, but while we go do that for ourselves, something I would like to take a quick look at is the summoner spells that is coming out of lineups, and specifically the summoner spell coming out of the Jinx. The Lethal Tempo is one of these ones that's very hit or miss. I see a lot of Jinxes take something like the Fleet Footwork to keep themselves safe. So we are ready to go, so we'll be going live in 3, 2, 1, go. And
I believe I'm on the same path. I believe I'm on the same wavelength as coming into 24. It's going to be pretty nice at the moment. Like, both teams are really going with a bit of a passive startup. Like, I like that. I believe it is Zero IQ on red side are sort of going with a bit more of an adventurous type of path. Like, both teams are looking at all entrances to jungle. I am a little bit concerned about Darius's position, though.
We'll have to find out. Darius, again, this is the champion that's either going to hit or it's going to miss with the likes of the Darius. So we will have to find out. And it comes down to the junglers. The Kha'Zix and the Xin Zhao are both early game aggressive junglers, and I want to see what they're actually going to have to do in these first 5-10 minutes, because I still think that the likes of Zero and Young should be more than aware that DNX's Darius should have a pretty good time up against Rito Don't Bans being Nasus. So I would expect both junglers to visit top lane relatively early into the series, and then that depends who gets the first gank, who gets the counter gank, as we'll have to find out, as Young is starting on the bottom side with the Xin Zhao on the top, so both junglers going for red early on.
Well, I like that they're sort of mirroring each other's pathing at the moment. I'm not going to say no, I will correct myself. They are mirroring each other's pathway. I get confused between mirroring and path shadowing. Both are sort of like almost interchangeable, and I sort of get confused, but it's a bit of interesting at the moment that Xinjiao's staying towards top side and Kha'Zix is paying a little bit more attention towards mid. And I do have to highlight as well that both teams decided to ward the Pixel Bush. For those of you who are a little bit unaware, the Pixel Bush is the single little patch of bush in the middle of river on both sides of the map. Having a ward there enables you to see whether where the jungler which side the jungler might take their scuttle first.
Yeah, this is about what we were expecting. The flash burnt, the ignite, the hemorrhage stacked, and that's an easy first blood. And, well, when you pick something like a Nasus who doesn't do much early, and you pick a lane bully like a Darius to counter, it's a very rough time for the dog.
It is incredibly rough, and burning your summoners like that really early into the game is going to fly him ahead. Now they're both without summoners, but now it can come down to if Narcissus can do it again. Sorry, if Darius can do it again. My mind completely went south right there.
I mean, it's a Darius, so I would be surprised if he couldn't do it again. And Darius, with level 3, more than likely has access to the Apprehend. So even if Nasus is trying to play back, trying to play nice and safe, he is going to get pulled in and whacked away with a man with a giant axe. But a quick deviation of the top lane, a quick look at the junglers. We are seeing the Kha'Zix of Young doing a full bottom side clear and actually coming into gank as well. I don't think he's spotted by was. Geistro is walking up. Now they realize they're in a lot of trouble. The CC, is it going to land? They get it onto the Vel'Koz, and that is an easy pickup on the bottom side. A support mage, not very tanky.
No, but I feel like they benefited more from that kill than Darius did top lane. Mainly because there were two takedowns for bottom lane, and Kha'Zix managed to claim a kill, so that's going to put him ahead. Just by a little bit at the moment. I mean, it is still early in the game to say it, but it's nice to have that early game lead, even if it's only by a little. I definitely like what I'm seeing bottom lane. Like, we're seeing a heavy CC-based champion as support Rom, coming in with Kai'Sa, and since he can stun her at least once, or even slow her, he's able to actually get off at least 2 of her passive points, and that's going to enable her to pop her passive at 5 stacks much more comfortably than what it would be with a regular support.
Exactly, and we did actually get to see Young's Kha'Zix stealing away the blue buff from Zero, so it is going to be a bit unfortunate for the Xin Zhao getting 3 buffed early on, but obviously what is he able to do when the scaling comes out? As Young returning to the top side of the map and may potentially look to gank the top lane right now. 10 CS favor in the Darius, isn't it? But he's also got to keep an eye on the bottom side. 10-ish CS just under in favor of Kai'Sa over the Jinx.
Oh, really unfortunate right there. I'm feeling my vote is a little bit at risk. Even though it's only at 4 minutes 53, Narcissus is sort of having a lot of trouble trying to even claim his cannon minions. And cannon minions, when he executes them with Siphon Strike, he gets 12 stacks instead of 3. And being denied that, like, Darius is really on board with trying to keep a sort of a bit of a macro mindset about Narcissus' kit, preventing him from getting cannon minions, try and take him down early, and deny him as much as possible. I mean, if he can get Siphoning Strike on as many minions as possible and get to level 6, the situation can change quite easily, and that's not something you really want when you're versing a Narcissus like this.
Exactly, you want to keep the dog down. We talked about the fact that there's a timer, and the Nasus timer right now in games is standardly about 25 minutes. Now, against something like a lane bully of the Darius, you have to change that as Alien.
Oh.
That is a very questionable leap forward, and you're lucky that Totoro doesn't actually have any mana. Otherwise, you are a dead birdie. We're seeing Zero and Young's having a really good time, and Zero's not enjoying the fact he does not get access to his jungle properly.
No, but I'm feeling just as worried for Galio at the moment. He's really overextending. He is low. And Cassian is that type of champion that even though he can be depleted of mana very easily, he can regain it back just as fast because of his ability kit. His W gives him extra mana back when he executes a minion.
Exactly, but Cassian is simply happy to farm up for now. We talk about the fact that Nasus is on a timer. We have to remember that last game, the timer of the Kassadin, really did dividends in favor of Fairvale High Score in the previous round. So I think this is a very similar game, and Jinx, Kai'Sa also amazing scaling out of these champions. So I was hoping for an early game bloodbath. I was hoping for a lot of skirmishes, but it looks like both teams are deciding to play it back a little bit. The only real aggression right now is Young invading the jungle of Zero, and Ding Nox wailing away on the Nas is trying to keep those stacks to a minimum. Talking about the top lane.
I was actually going to say, they're trading off quite well. I mean, Narcissus is doing well to try and hold his own. He is a little bit behind. I am raising an eyebrow to his first item of choice, though. Going away with that Glacial Shroud is a bit of a risky move. It does give you cooldown reduction, armor, and mana. But compared to Sheen, he's going to have a bit of a problem trying to, continuing trade around about and stacking up his Q.
Exactly, but in this case, Rito, I actually disagree with you. I think that the Glacial Shroud here is the right decision. Sheen is a good item for Nasus, but right now, Nasus isn't trying to fight. He's not trying to really fight against Denox. His entire objective is to survive this laning phase, get as many stacks as humanly possible, and build the components for his items, and that's all he has to do right now. He's not in a timer. He doesn't have to win lane. Denox is the one who has to win the lane, keep this Nasus as down as possible. So I do quite like it from Rito. Don't ban me, please. We'll have to see if it is a benefit, because right now Denox almost double CS to his opposite number with that phage. More than likely going to go for a Trinity Force, I hope. This Nasus is going to hurt when that gets built.
Well, being that he's so far ahead, it would make sense to go for Trinity Force, because going for Black Cleaver would sort of limit him a little bit, because he doesn't...
Oh my lord, the combo on bottom heel is burnt! Super Mega Death Rocket not available, but that is the damage out of a Vel'Koz, and the Braum Shield doesn't do nothing to save him.
No, that was a very interesting trade-off, just like what's happening in mid lane. However, I feel as though Galio's beginning to show up a little bit more, because he's really coming online. He's got his W passive. He's trying to be as aggressive as possible, trying to get that aftershock going. He's really doing well against Kassadin, but I feel as though Kassadin's beginning to come online just as easily at the moment. He's able to push around, poke down that passive with ease, essentially. Just getting that Q out, and then occasionally that E. Maybe the ulti, but I feel as though he could be out of bounds a little bit if he's not careful.
I mean, this is what happens when you give Kassadin a matchup that he wants. Last game we saw Kassadin into Aurelia really strong early game, and doesn't do a whole ton of magic damage, which the Kassadin is specialized against. Galio, a very different bird to tackle with here, and we can see that in the CS numbers, 20 CS in favor of the Kassadin. He's already got the Catalyst ready to rumble, and more than likely be able to rush a high damage item rather than, having to stress about full build. Is actually terrific. Alien throws himself forward, terrific, backing away because he doesn't know where the enemy jungler is, but now realizes, hey, wait a second, you have no right to be this way. Talk about the junglers, though. Zero is getting demolished. Young, a couple of hits will do it, flashes away, flashes available. He's going to hunt him down. Can he get it? Yes, he can! And Young will survive. His mid laner, though, might not be so lucky. One hit away will do it, but Galio somehow escapes with his life. Meanwhile, Spivik throwing himself forward. The Jinx knockup is there, but they need to get a kill. It looks like they are trying to turn onto the Vel'Koz. One more bit of CC will land.
Oh, no.
The Jinx is untouched. She's wailing away. Super Mega Death Rocket is available, but not enough to execute. One more hit onto the Braum will do it, but they're now turning onto the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa goes down. Skyscream needs to run for his life. One hit will do it, but out of range. Jinx has to be satisfied with a kill in a couple of minions.
I am a little bit curious. Like, throughout that fight, 3 out of 4 ultimates were expended. Kai'Sa still had hers up, and it was a little bit interesting. She had dots on both players. It sort of raises the question, like, why didn't she use it? Was she waiting for something, or was she actually did she accidentally get disconnected throughout that fight that led to her inevitable death? I mean, it is a little bit hard to tell. It was a bit of an interesting turnaround. Like, first it was working well because Braum managed to get his Glacial Fissure out. Kai'Sa followed up quite well, but she more or less just, ran regularly instead of ulting to try and jump right in front of Vel'Koz and Orc walk him.
Exactly, maybe a bit of an oopsies there, as we are seeing. Well, let's see how it goes on the bottom side. There is still a CS advantage in the Kai'Sa's favor right now, so we'll see if that is able to continue building up, as both mid laners look to be going for the scaling, as the Kassadin is going for the tier build, so the full late game Season 3 Kassadin, while Galio going for a pretty standard run of ages very early on, and we'll see what impact these two junglers, mid laners have, and specifically, I really want to see more roaming coming out of the Galio, because you pick Galio for the late game, you pick Galio, for the roaming potential of that ultimate, and so far, haven't seen a whole lot of mobility coming out of the mid lane.
A whole lot of mobility or no mobility? Because at the moment they're both really trading off quite well between one another. Like, they're trading blows like an old-fashioned fisticuff match. I don't think I've seen Galio once yet so far, but he's done well to try and trade off against Kassadin. And since he's gone for a Rod of Ages first up, it's a bit of an interesting turn or should I say item choice, for first item, because commonly you would see something like Hextech Protobot, because once he taunts them down, he can essentially just plant himself straight into them, like with the charge, with the Protobot active, and the gust of wind that he can throw behind, because normally when you try and run it from Galio, you run straight, and a lot of Galios try and work that to their advantage by throwing the gust of wind right in front of them, so that way they have to run straight through it. But so far, from what I've seen, when Galio throws out that gust of wind like he did just now, Caster is actually running further into combat with him. That's an interesting strategy that I don't really see very often, and it's really coming to light. That Todorific is really thinking with his head on this one.
Exactly. He's thinking to himself, I can't let the Galio wail away damage on me and then back away. It's simply not what I need. And forcing these fights with that melee range is really good time. Even on the top side, this is just going to be painful. Ignite is available. Noxty and Guillotine is available. Fury of the Sands is used by Rita to ban me, but it's not going to be enough. The flash for Flash! The burn, the Ignite! I can't tell if the Hellfighter, but it looks like the Nasus will be able to survive as the Guillotine wasn't dropped.
No, I think he was saving the Guillotine for the response flash when Nasus used his defensively.
Oh no, this is just cruel amount of CC being thrown onto there. No mobility, no flash, no chance in hell of getting out alive.
I shed a tear for that Jinx explosion right there. That's all I can really say about that fight. It was just too explosive. But I felt like she didn't really have an iota of chance. She has heal active, but I'm glad she didn't use it, so she'll be able to save it for a more opportune moment when it's actually going to save her, rather than delay her inevitable death.
Exactly, but unfortunately, Jinx does go down 1-1-0 with most of the buildings of the... I've completely had the Infinity Edge, in her back pocket. But talking about items, not only has the Galio completed his Rod of Ages, but Darius has the Trinity Force at 14 minutes. And if this Nasus was struggling before, it just got 3 times worse. As Alien forcing the fight against Totoro, but Totoro, with the likes of the Fleet Footwork, with the likes of the Catalyst, is 100% winning to an Alien. Throws himself back in once again, but I feel like that's a bit of an oopsies. That's a straight up solo kill. And now on the bottom side of the map, Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide, unfortunately, but we're seeing what happens when the Jinx and the Vel'Koz can partner up as well.
An interesting turn of events. I actually thought Braum was going to go down in that fight, but as soon as I saw that flash and Jinx popped her Super Mega Death Rockets a little bit prematurely, I feel like there was a small lag delay.
Hello, this Kha'Zix is not where he should be.
No, boxed in, but jumps out of the way quite cleanly. A nice defense, a nice evasive maneuver, essentially. Just as much as this Kai'Sa is voiding Vel'Koz's abilities, like it's essentially nothing. She's dealing with this on a daily basis.
Indeed, dodging a lot, but the Vel'Koz is getting quite a bit of harassment down, and that's why you pick something like a Vel'Koz over the likes of a more traditional support, like the Braum. As we are seeing Draven going all the way in. Is he able to pick up the flash as well? He will pick himself a kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Deanox is in a lot of trouble trying to get a kill. Draven falls to the Jinx. Actually, Jinx finally goes down into Galio. Ulties for the first time. This fight is able to have a big impact there on the bottom side of the map.
That was quite the action. I mean, we saw action happen middle first, with a clean kill from Cassidy as he prolonged the fight. Bottom lane had a very different turn of events. Kai'Sa just goes straight in on top and then flashes behind to avoid all of Vel'Koz's abilities. And the top lane was just another 2v1 battle. I mean, it was incredibly smart from both teams, but I feel as though it worked more in favor of Southern River only because they claimed more kills in a single rotation.
Exactly. A bit of favor there. 6-4 in favor of Southern River, but almost ironically, it is 0 IQ have greater gold, and the main reason is look at the CS differences. Top, jungle, and mid all have significant CS advantages for 0 IQ right now, and it's a little bit painful inside of Southern River College Blue, but they do have some quite good scaling. The Infinity Edge picked up by both AD carries right now, so I'll see what they're able to do in the later game, because I was hoping for a bloodbath early, but it doesn't look like that's what we're going to be getting. As we're seeing Alien, he keeps trying to force the fight in mid, but I don't know if it's working in his favor. Talking about not working in his favor, Ignite is down. One more hit, the Guillotine is there, the Decimate not even required, as Xenix gets his second solo kill of the game.
That was quite a one-sided situation. Darius really premeditated his strike. He had a very good preemptive strike. He followed it through, got the execute in this time. Flash was still on cooldown for Narcissus. I feel as though he timed himself really well, and his internal clock on cooldown timers with summoner spells was pretty much on point this time. It was really interesting to see, and I feel as though this Darius is going to be much more on the ball with as we can progress further on. I feel like he's going to become the major player contender for zero IQ at the moment.
Exactly. I mean, you pick a dominant lane like the Darius, you need to make use of it. But something that's interested me is the Nasus itemization's actually gone. Whoa, come back to it a little bit. No, Terrific gets that alive. But the Nasus going for the Iceborne Gauntlet as opposed to more resistances and then building a Trinity Force to match really interests me because you don't necessarily need the slow from the extra little bit of armor this early on. You can pick up a machine and then go into more tanky items. So we'll see how that works out for Rita Don't Ban Me as Alien is copying the worst end of the trade in mid. Lovely intercept from Terrific, and actually he might be able to commit to it. The flash, however, from Alien keeps him alive, and now Young might want to try and get a piece of it, but that Riftwalk available should be able to get it alive. No problems. One more hit will do it, but the Riftwalk steps him out of danger.
I gotta say, Cassidy's really being effective at the moment. He's just as much of an anti-mage, because when he takes down Galio's passive where he absorbs magic damage up to a certain point, Cassidy has actually got an even bigger advantage because his shield regenerates every single time he uses it, and he seems to be using it after going in on top of Galio, and because I feel as though he's expecting Galio to throw that gust of wind behind him, and that really doesn't do a lot of damage up front. Like, since Cassidy's shield he generates from his Q gives him a bit of magic absorption, it's really working well in his favor, and it's really coming to light how much is pushing him ahead, because they both have their completed Rod of Ages, which is definitely one thing.
No, this is cruel. This is just cruel to witness. Ionix running down the flash as well. Fury of the Sands coming out to try and buy a bit of time, but Noxie's Guillotine is available. The Darius needs to get some healing, actually. The Conqueror isn't doing it. The Nut also coming out. The flash away. I don't think it's going to be enough, is it? Oh, 40 HP! Rito gets out with 40 HP.
That is absolutely ball-breaking. It's just you're left on the edge of your seat, and you just don't fall off quite yet. At least we know this. At least we know Narcissus is remaining a little bit more safer at the moment. I mean, if he didn't have as much armor as what he does at the moment, it could have been lights out prematurely. I mean, the amount of armor he's got at the moment is really coming to light. He's doing well with his damage output. He's got that sheen, but it's improved into Iceborne Gauntlet. Darius is dishing a lot of damage into him, but he's not exactly finishing him off anymore. Like, this is that turning point we're looking for in Narcissus. He's really coming to light. If he keeps going the way he is at the moment and gets a little bit more health, I would say something like a Steric's Gauge or something of a tanky and yet damage-based nature. It could really turn the tides, and I think we'll see it in the next 1v1 against both of them if we see it again. But since we've already hit that 21-minute mark, Galio's going right on top of Darius' face.
Darius, though, getting a bit of the favor of that trade just because of the Decimate swing. So nothing too much traded, but quick look down the items while it doesn't break in the action. The bot laners are going for their items. An interesting Soul Seeker going for the likes of the Luden's Echo, which I suppose if that's what you're into, you can go for. Rita Don't Ban Me grabs his turret, but he is now fighting the Darius once again. Ignite is dropped, but I think the Nasus might actually be able to win this one. The Q-Crunch is available. The Execute isn't enough. And Siphoning Strike, that's a plus 12 for the Nasus.
Oh, that's more than a plus 12. I mean, he's even gotten free lane farm from it too. Like, just completely uncontested. I'm pretty sure he took down turret with it. We used him an extra 12. He also claimed a cannon minion in that mix too. So I think that was more like 24. I think that was more like 36 stacks instead of 24. Well, but an interesting turnaround though. Like, I do have to add, sorry to have cut you off right there, but it's working. It's sort of like they're evenly trading blows at the moment. It is working a little bit more in favor of Zero IQ because they now have all three objectives taken away. 3 level 1 turrets gone. That's going to limit Southern River's ability to actually move about just as much because they've got less vision to play with. Like, turrets create vision, minions create vision, so do wards. But if those minions are pushed further back behind tier 1 turret and there is no tier 1 turret available, you're gonna have to start warding your bushes to make sure that there's no counterplay in in action at the moment, because we're seeing very minimal warding coming about from both teams. I'm seeing 3 happening as well as a control ward, and I'm only seeing roughly 1 to 2, including the River Scudder at this point in the game.
Okay, it was maybe not the strongest super seller, guys. Once again, this feels like a repeat of history. Fear stands as reinforcements. The Vel'Koz true damage is here, and the Nasus now is getting torn apart. The execute, more than enough. Theonid says, okay, you got the better of me last time, but this time I bought backup for myself. And now Theonid needs to get the hell out of dodge. Karzik and Braum are looking to get a little bit of vengeance. We'll see if they can get out alive. Soul Stealer is, but I fear that Darius might be in a little bit of bother. Actually, no, the Karzik jumps and assassinates the support.
I shed a tear for that unfortunate execute underneath their own tier 2 turret. Just Vel'Koz was not prepared for such a combo right there. I mean, he's almost got his flash up now, which is going to give him even more deadly executes when he passes them around. Having that Duskblade has really put Kha'Zix online, especially at this point. Oh no.
Oh, Draven is in so much trouble, and that's as an easy pickup. Not even willing to burn the flash or the heal?
I think he understood he was pretty much like ready. He was pretty much ready. He knew he wasn't going to survive against Cassidy at this point in the game. He has 2 completed items, one of them being an Archangel Staff. Rod of Ages has almost hit its 10 stack climax, and I think this is it's hitting that point where Cassidy has really come online, and it's only going to get more disastrous from here because he's one of those types of champions that has a ticking time bomb on.
Exactly, but there may be a bomb right now. We are seeing a beautiful glacial fissure, but it's not enough. There's no flop, and now Alien isn't young. Manages to pick up the dragon, but this Lighttone disintegration rate is tearing them apart. The one victim of the fight is going to be the Galio right there. Nas is not burning teleport to come down, but that is 4 dragons now in favor of Southern River Clogs. They've been secretly sneaking up, and Totoro, oh my lord, my god, how do you nearly A, execute the Braum, and B, get out alive?
They may have 4 out of 5 dragons at the moment, or should I say all 4 out of 4. The 5th one's yet to come up, but they haven't really made as much progress with objective clearing as what Zero IQ have. Zero IQ have got 3 turrets. They are still flying ahead on a majority counts. Cassidy being their highlight here at the champion at the moment. Darius coming in at a close second. I feel a little bit for Vel'Koz, like he has made a considerable amount of contribution towards the takedown so far. He's 4 out of 8, so that's a 50% kill participation rate. But he's also died the most on his team due to being caught out just as much. I mean, if he doesn't start stacking, if he doesn't start building more defensively, not a Rod of Ages, a Riley's Crystal Scepter and a Zhonya's Hourglass, he's really going to put his team in an unfavorable position if they're going for a 5v5 team fight.
We'll see how that goes, but the Rod of Ages is now fully stacked up by both mid laners. Actually, and the Galio look to be going a bit more defensive. Honestly, what we were expecting, as we're seeing once again that Nas is fighting the Darius, but the Darius struggling in this particular skirmish. One more Q will do it. The flash is available, but not even required. Rito, don't ban me, please. Runs down the Darius.
Soon as you see that flash, followed by the slow essentially from Narcissus.
Whoa, are they forcing Baron?
I think they are forcing Baron. It's a preemptive Baron right here. They don't know that they're dead, which is what's fun.
They had no idea. There was no vision coming out of Zero IQ there, and that is just a free Baron handed over to Southern River College, and this is really going to kick off their split push game, because now Nasus can split push in one lane, you throw the likes of the Kai'Sa into the other lane, and Galio can roam with that ultimate. This is huge for Southern River.
What was our decision or prediction before in the Champions?
I was wrong. I had faith that Zero IQ would be able to take control of the game early, which they did, and then keep control of the game, which unfortunately they seem to be losing, as Rito Don't Ban Me is just part of the flush over the wall does keep him alive, but that is a key summon to spell down.
That is definitely a key summon to spell, but like I said, once he comes online, starts getting those stacks up to a certain point, then it doesn't matter if Darius gets a lot of damage onto him or even that 5 stacks. If Narcissus can get on top of him and stay on top of him even after being apprehended, Darius is going to have a lot of problems because Narcissus Q, a Siphoning Strike, stacked with the stacking bonus that he's claimed through killing minions as well as other things, and Shin on top of, like, it's very lethal. It's almost a one-hit execute.
Talk about one hit.
Yeah, just as much as what we saw just
on the top side as well. And a lot of we're trying to deal with this Nasus, as you're talking about that. They are kiting the dog out. Well, one more Q may do it, but not able to pick up a kill, as there is now some more skirmish, and the Kaiser trying to do what she can, but there's no reinforcements coming out. Teleport actually being burnt as well. Darius will be the next victim of this fight. Teleport not even needed, and Soulseeker leaving his top laner for dead. Oh, a beautiful hit. Draven picks up his kill. Be 3-3 and 3.
Oh, Draven be slaying as he just managed to claim a double kill right there. He's at an even score, 3-3-3. Most CS, second most CS in the game at the moment, but he's also flying quite ahead by helping them claim objectives now. They're now 3-3, but it's only going to get worse because they're coming onto their fourth with their Baron butt.
That's so low. Actually, Jinx might be able to kill. She can get a couple resets on her belt. That is going to be huge. But instead, they are backing away. They want to push with this Baron, but they also need to be so careful. Their health bars are getting kind of low, so they simply choose, hey, we'll back away. We grabbed a lot of objectives. We're even in gold, a little bit ahead, actually, over the enemy team, and we'll see where it takes us from theirs. Nasus, on that split push, I just noticed, has 460-something stacks.
That's too many to count. That is definitely a gentlemanly Narcissus right there. It's just he's really hitting that point that, you know, the ticker has timed. The time is up. The bomber's about to go off, and every single time he slams his siphoning strike down on somebody, it's like a giant explosion because you could see how much health that disappears from whoever he's hitting just with that single siphoning strike. Oh no.
Talking about health disappearing, Draven's gonna be dead. Actually, no, stays alive. No, he doesn't. Never mind. He's gonna go take it down. And Conorific trying to turn this around. He will get taken out. No, dashes himself over the wall and actually will be able to escape alive as his team backs away. But Draven, you cannot, as the AD carry, be face-checking bushes. Learn from Double Lift. He's been doing this for seasons.
It's very scary from what I'm seeing at the moment, and I'm beginning to feel sincerely sorry for those unexpected executes right there. Like what we saw from Kaiser before, that's the second time she got blown up by Kassadin's ability to just dish so much so quickly.
Zero's dead, by the way.
Yeah, I can see that. No, he's gonna get saved.
Oh no, Reno Bambi is in a little bit of trouble. Actually, a 1 versus 0 is gonna, as I did pick up, as it is a 1-for-1 trade. And Nasus picked up a kill despite being outnumbered 5-1. What does that tell you about the dog?
He got put down. That's all I can really say. The dog got put down in that instance, but it was interesting. He put up a good fight. Like, you have to admit, he put up a good fight. He took a kill with him. It was just unfortunate that all 5 members pretty much came to Zero's aid, which really comes to show that Zero IQ are coming together as a team through communication and effective macro gameplay. I mean, look at what we're seeing on the minimap. We're seeing so many wards happening. We've got River Scudder taken away at Baron Pit. Wards everywhere. Question mark to Vel'Koz.
You got a dead Soulseeker is what we have. That was a bit of a questionable life form disintegration round.
I just wish I could put down a giant question mark there. Question mark, ulti? Where am I hitting this at the moment? There was no vision, in that area right there. It was complete fog of war that Vel'Koz was essentially blindsiding his own ulti. Uh-oh.
Exactly, a bit of a skirmish. He might be in a bit of trouble, but he does have reinforcements behind him, so they are forced to back the hell away. And it seems to be Baron up in a minute. I would not be surprised if Southern River College decide, you know what? We're going to go visit this place again. We're going to have a real good time. We did it once more than 6 minutes ago. We might as well do it again.
Exactly. What I definitely like seeing at the moment from Southern River is that they're all playing together now. We're hitting that point of the game, around 32 minutes 4, that every single member is trying to stay as close to each other as possible. And so that's they're sort of connecting with each other and trying to help each other out.
So about connecting, unfortunately, Young, only thing he's connecting with is the Grave 6 under as Rita Bambi force the flash away out of danger, but the pursuit is potential. Let's see if they do decide to chase, but with the jungler down, Baron is far too real of a possibility.
Oh, just he misses the axe grab right there. It was a bit of an unfortunate turnaround. I think that because he missed that, Braum managed to stay alive for longer, and that's really going to sort of create a bit of a tango between these two teams now.
Yeah, Baron time, though. This is going to be Zero IQ's potential window. There is no Smite Steal potential, but if they do decide to fight this, Southern River College need to play this so carefully. Do they commit to the Baron? Do they commit to the fight? Where do they go? It looks like they are going to try to commit to the fight. Baron is not dead yet. The life form disintegration rate is doing what it can, but the damage is far too much, far too quickly, as Baron finally goes down, but it looks like Zero IQ will be the ones to come out victorious at the end of this. Oh, they take the Baron. They take what is effectively an ace. And with two members with Baron, this is what they wanted.
This is definitely what they wanted, and I guess it's something to highlight that really turned it in Zero IQ's favor is that Kha'Zix went down. He got caught out by two members. He got taken down by Kassadin, who had more than enough mana to actually catch up to him. That really put that team behind, and then when they tried to contest, it was a 4v5 scenario, and it was very unfavorable, considering like every single member from Southern River except for Kha'Zix went down in that trade. So I think Southern River are really going to have to play more defensively and try and play the same strategy against Zero IQ if they want to make a comeback at this point, because things are looking pretty grim. I mean, 5 turrets to 3, but Zero IQ now have Baron buff, and they're pushing all 3 lanes out. I think they're actually going to catch up really soon. We're seeing 2 empty bishops happening on minimap, and when I say bishops, I mean the turrets right there. Oh, sorry, it's now 4 out of 5. And it's only going to get more interesting because with Baron buff, you have a much more easier time being able to clear out lanes and continue pushing. And if they decide to 5v5 teamfight, Southern River are going to be forced more defensively because they don't really have as much of an aggressive upfront assault at the moment. I mean, Galio can jump on somebody, but I don't think I've really seen Galio ult much this game.
They're a bit passive with those ultis, but what I want to be seeing right now is Rito, don't ban me please. It needs to go into a side lane. You need to leverage the fact that you get a split push with the Nasus. No one can 1v1 this dog right now, and you need to get something. But right now it seems a little interesting. You mentioned how Southern River College always seem to be grouped up. Well, right now it's hurting them. They need to have people mid lane clearing the waves, but instead everyone seemed almost obsessed to follow the Nasus moving down. As Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, something tells me, convince an Elder, we're going to have another fight.
I think we are going to have another fight. I mean, it is a dance around Dragon Pit at the moment. That's an Elder Dragon coming up. If Zero IQ can take this away from Southern River, I feel like this could be the game-ending moment. They're not going to be able to defend themselves quite well. Whereas if Southern River get it, they're going to have a very nice buff on their hands. They have 5 dragons, which is going to give them a very favorable advantage for Elder Dragon buff at the moment.
Indeed, but they have pulled the dragon out, and now it is started. This is potentially the make or break it for these teams. 6,000 health. They are trying to skirmish their way up there, but like Zero IQ are fully committing to the killing of this dragon. He jumps in. He is able to steal it, actually. And this is a 5-man on the head of the dragon. Can they take it? Yes, they can is the answer to that question. They are slaughtering Zero IQ. 5 dragon, Elder Dragon. Young may have died, but they have gotten his team the game. Soulseeker forced to flush the hell out of danger.
That was a surprising turnaround. Like, this is like essentially like what we saw in game number 1, just a Baron steal, but this time it happened for blue team instead of red team. I think it's not really much to say at this moment though, because Jinx is like hitting her 3-item power spike. She's only got 50% crit, no, sorry, 60% crit chance, and it's only going to get like worse as it progresses along.
And no flash apparently. Sneaky Ninja forced to back the hell away as we see the Nasus doing pretty standard Nasus stuff, one-shotting towers with that siphoning strike. And at this point, no one can deal with the Nasus split push. He just simply has to take the objectives. A new challenger of Sneaky approaches, but he's like, yeah, no, I'm not getting involved in this.
Well, Nasus has got 636 stacks and counting, and it's only going to get worse. Actually,
it's talking about getting worse. He might be. He's going to go down here, but can he turn it around? Zero is simply too tanky. The execution of the guillotine coming out of the Darius right there to pick up the kill on the dog, but that buys him a bit of time. But is it going to be enough?
It is definitely a matter of time and seeing if they can get out.
Oh, this is cruel.
Wrong right there.
This is cruel. Hunting down stray targets. They're going hunting, and they ain't going for wabbits. They're going for Southern River College members.
I gotta give it to Sky for being courageous and very aggressive right towards the bitter end. Even though even though it was inevitable, even though he flashed as well, I think he should have saved his ulti for a different situation. Pardon me, a different situation. Oh man, I have got the hiccups tonight.
But let's see how that goes. Baron is spawning in just over a minute. And I talked about how I felt like the Elder Dragon would make or break this game. It looks like the Baron will be the final dancing point for this game. Southern River College, if they can secure this Baron, I don't see a way that they don't end it within the life of that Baron buff. They've got a fantastic siege. They've shown they're not afraid to push the limits just a little bit. So, and with the Elder Dragon sitting on them for a little bit longer, they will have a bit of an advantage in the fight. Zero IQ though, if they can get a reset on the Jinx, if the Cassidy, who's level 18, who is full build, is able to get access to the likes of Draven, or even young LaFlame, they may be able to take the fight, assassinate a member, and then get the Jinx to snowball from there. But it's really not looking pretty. But they're only down 1,000.
I'll have to agree with you. Your prediction earlier is coming to fruition again. Because it's like a giant scale. Just first it was in your favor, and then it's turned into my prediction. Now it's back in yours.
And it looks like there is a bit of a skirmish on the top side. This could be the fight for the Baron. The Glacial up, but the two teams are back away, but Zero, if he goes down, that could potentially be the Baron or maybe, damn, the Baron taking down bases. Draven throws himself into the backline, slaughtering everyone. A double kill coming up for the Kaiser, and that could potentially be the game.
I think that actually could be the game, because that's 3 members down.
Oh, Dio trying to fight it, but it's not going to be enough. He picks up 1, but that is all you wrote for the Darius. He's going to go down. Probably, yeah, here we go. Finally taking out Terrific, gets CC chained down. Is he able to take down Draven? Yes, he does. He may actually be able to turn this fight around. 1 versus 3, takes down 1, takes down 2 of Sky. 1 more hit will take down Sky. A triple kill coming up for the Kazan. This is that late game time where we were talking about. I don't think he can stop the Nassus, but he might be able to hold on to the base right now as they're losing their base. Top lane inhibitor turret goes down, mid lane inhibitor turret, and inhibitor fall as well. I
think that's going to be 2 inhibitors as well as top. That's all 3 inhibitors down. The only thing they have left to defend is their Nexus turrets. And if they get Baron, 0 IQ, I got to look as grim as Narcissus was just then. I don't... That was too quick to tell. That was too surprising. Gotta give credit to Narcissus. He was very ambitious for trying to take down all 3 inhibitors to give his team complete freedom to roam around the map at the moment. But I think because they managed to execute, they're going to try and track down Baron. I mean, they still have at least 5 seconds on the timer. Kha'Zix can make an appearance, but he has to be very sneaky with his ulti and smite.
Exactly, but he does have a level advantage, level 17, 18 in favor of the Kha'Zix, so if he does get in range in time, he may be able to steal it. LaFlame, are you going to be able to do it?
He's not going to make it.
Look like he's close, but no cigar. He realizes a moment too late. Damn it, I nearly made it there. And not even able to pick up a kill, unfortunately. He's trying to hunt people down, but he may become the prey itself, forced to leap the hell out of danger, but looks like they are able to get the Baron 0 IQ. They might be able to stall this out down to just the Nexus turret as the last bit of their bases. Dionox, unfortunately, caught out of position. The Darius falls, and with the loss of their top laner, a 4 versus 5, I don't know if Baron is even going to be enough to save them.
Well, we can always hope that Carson, makes those major plays like he did before. He took down at least 4 members, I think it was last time. He managed to get down Narcissus, but only by going back to base. And I don't think that's going to really help him too much this time, because if they get caught out, it's going to mean lights out. Oh, Kha'Zix though.
1 pick could be all she wrote at 41 minutes. Both teams need to be so careful, but right now you do have a double inhibitor down. You have all of the super minions shoving into your base on the side of 0 IQ, so they need to be so careful. They need to keep their Nexus turrets alive, and I fear they may be forced to give up an inhibitor turret. Sorry, the inhibitor itself, just to keep their base in one piece.
Well, it's very interesting at the moment. Like, they're really pushing in. Elder Dragon is respawned. It looks like Kha'Zix is going to try and go in and claim it. If the rest of his team if the rest of 0 IQ, tried to make an attempt, it's going to be very risky. I mean, so far, they do get caught out quite easily. Xinjiao's on his own. Darius and Cassidy, on the other hand, are close, with Vel'Koz coming in with a slow third. Jinx is well behind the pack, though. Oh, no.
Charles M0, can you steal it? No, he's not able to take it. And that is now a 5 Elder Dragon once again. This could potentially be all she wrote. 0 IQ members. Sure, they killed the dog, but they lost their members. Now, oh, you can't dash over the flame chompers. You are still going to dash with that killer instinct. But Young finds one. Does he have the reset from the wings? I think he does, so he might be able to find two. A lot of damage. The stopwatch burnt, but it's only delaying the inevitable. This Kha'Zix sinks his fangs into the Jinx. Cassidon needs to pull the base defense of all base defenses, 1 versus 4.
I don't think he's going to be able to do it at the moment. They have Dragon buff on them. They have 5 dragons. That is going to be a lot of periodic damage that they're going to throw onto his face. I don't think he's going to be able to survive all of it. Even with that Archangel.
The hero's entrance being used. 1 Nexus turret falls. Soto, you need to do something, Fred, but I don't think it's enough. No, executed! And that is going to be the game. Southern River College Blue taking the game over Churchlands Senior High School 0 IQ in a game. I did not see this one coming.
I didn't expect such a sneaky execute. I mean, just Duskblade of Drakthar on Kha'Zix in a situation like that is really lethal. And he's done well to survive, especially with Def Dance active in his kit. And he didn't even get to pop his stopwatch. So I feel as though if that game prolonged any further, it would have worked heavily in favor of Southern River. But it looks like at the end of this pickle, I believe I won predictions this time, Eotos.
Yes, you did, Reinhardt. You win the prediction game. Southern River College Blue taking the game, and you look at the facts. 44 minutes. You have better late game scalings. You have the Nasus. You have the Kai'Sa compared to realistically Cassidon and a Jinx, and the Jinx really struggled to have the impact that she was aiming for in this particular game. But that is going to be the series, and of course we have to damage graphs up on stream, so we can take a quick look at those. And I mean, are we really surprised that the Cassidon reigns supreme when it comes to damage?
I think I'll agree. I think I'll agree with that. 50,000 damage he delivered to champions throughout that entire game, and the nearest was at 38 by Kai'Sa, and nearing that was surprisingly Vel'Koz at 34. A bit of an interesting feat that we're seeing on our screen at the moment, but just overall it was very close, Nick. Like, the only major difference was that Cassidy managed to pull his team along so well. It was just unfortunate that Elder Dragon managed to catch out Xinjiao as well as Darius. Even though Nasus went down and missed the majority of that fight, I don't think it really hindered Southern River greatly because they managed to turn around just as easily at the moment.
Exactly, but that is going to be the Western Australian bracket wrapped up in favor of Southern River College Blue. So thank you guys very much for participating and, of course, watching throughout the entire cast. I hope to see you for the next week. Week 6 of Meta is around the corner. I'll see what teams we get to see going head-to-head. My name is Ewan Reed, alongside casting Reinhardt. We wish you the best remaining of the week, and we'll see you for Week 6 of Meta.
No point in blaming you, you did not know.